Lu Fan and the elder sister walked together. The elder sister avoided talking about the dark past. It was all connected to her grandfather's death. But when Lu Fan persisted, she slowly revealed everything. 6 months ago, she said, we set out on a quest to the western border with fourth-grade masters. Our goal was to reach the lower valley of the fallen Dragon Valley. Grandfather was confident that we could return that valley to our kingdom. There was pride in her words, but a bitterness tinged her voice. But there, we saw something, a huge tree with countless eyes shining from its peak. It stared at us. Even the warriors became uneasy. That area was truly forbidden. Suddenly, the tree attacked, the elder sister recalled, clutching her shoulders tearfully. Even our seniors couldn't muster the strength to defend themselves. Grandfather decided to retreat and planned to return with a strong hand. But returning wasn't easy. When they escaped, Grandfather contracted an infection, a strange and deadly infection that even the priests of Dragon City couldn't find a cure for. He slowly died. At the same time, the Wong and Long families secretly began a feud. In their dying strength, they held my hand, trying to save us. Her voice broke, and the evening breeze lingered with her words. Just back then, we heard the roar of a dragon in the Valley of the Fallen. Grandfather had a dream that one day that valley would belong to our family. It was a secret treasure there. Lu Fan asked calmly, "What did your grandfather see? Why don't you want to return there?" The elder sister took a deep breath and said, "All those things kept gnawing at me, but now you said you have a task to kill a Dragon King-level being." Lu Fan said sternly, "I have a mission, a uniquely marked task that must be completed. I must kill that terrifying being." The elder sister's face was filled with surprise. She asked, "Which king? The Dragon King? Will you really do this?" Lu Fan gave a cold smile and said, "The danger lies with me. It's my trump card. Will you come along?" The elder sister smiled at that and said firmly, "Yes, I'll go with you. You have the right to know the location of Fallen Dragon Valley. It's earned by you." Lu Fan replied with relief, "Excellent." Then he gave orders. "Bring back your monorama. Prepare for the ritual. We'll leave tomorrow." The elder sister nodded. In the dim evening light, a steady glint of decision appeared on both their faces. The next day would be filled with danger and answers, and now their path was clear. The atmosphere of the old Wong mansion was already tense, but the fiery silence of that afternoon suddenly turned to dust when the door opened and a towering man stepped inside. He was the size of a bean, but his presence was as heavy as a mountain. A small boy sat on his shoulder, his face innocent, but his eyes held the deep shadow of old hurt. The officials froze, as if they had seen a ghost. Someone mustered the courage to say in a trembling voice, "Don't come here. The Huang family is no longer here." The man, Zhuang Milei, said in a low, hushed voice, "It's been 3 days, but the tribute hasn't been paid yet." There was neither pity nor pleading in his words. Then he looked at the boy, and as if recalling a stigma, he said, "My sister is still waiting for him." The officials remained crouched, but screams and shouts erupted all around. Some people rushed over and tried to dissuade him. "This place no longer belongs to your family. Get out." There was pressure in their voices, but no patience. Zhuang Milei laughed coldly and said, "Don't you recognize me? The man standing before you is Ninyu, a prominent figure of the Western Frontier clan." The air itself grew heavy with pressure at the sound of his voice. A small tremor reached the ground. The officials who were still trying to show courage quickly retreated. Old powers and old claims were once again awakened in the mansion. Lineage traces, old dues, and accounts of the dead. Zhuang stepped forward and loomed. "Your true test will now come. 3 days of anonymity, this neglect will not be forgiven." With his single words, the winds in the mansion stilled. And then, as if someone had ripped the sky apart, the ground beneath his feet trembled slightly. The officials froze, helpless. Someone whispered, He's a 100-grade warrior. His very presence is not a blessing but a curse. Someone else within whispered that the ongoing feud and recent collapse between Wong and Huang had become more complicated with the now surfaced claims. The quiet whispers of plunder were now turning into open claims. Suddenly, an officer ran away in fear. Another officer standing nearby asked nervously, "Hey, slow down. What's wrong? Why are you running so fast?" At that very moment, the little boy pulled something out of his pocket. His eyes held a strange gleam. He said in a cold voice, "I don't care whether you're from the Huang family or the Yi family. I won't let a single tribute item slip away." A black, old bell flashed in his hand. The chilling sound from the bell shook the entire courtyard. "Ghost Commander, attack!" As soon as the boy's order rang out, the Ghost Commander's eyes blazed with fire. In the next instant, he unleashed a devastation that shook the ground. Several officers fell screaming with a single blow. The air was filled with the smell of blood and cries of fear. The boy still stared at everyone with a ferocious gaze. He said contemptuously, "You're all just insects, not even worthy of blocking my path." Meanwhile, a man in a suit emerged from a nearby mansion, hearing the commotion. He frowned and muttered, "What's all this commotion? Why all the screaming?" But then his eyes fell on an officer who fell in front of him, covered in blood. His steps froze. The Ghost Commander slowly moved toward him. His shadow grew long and terrifying on the ground. The old man was stunned. His throat dried. The ghost's deadly gaze fixed on him. In a trembling voice he muttered, "Hey, I'm Ning? You—" But his words fell short. There was only fear in his eyes, and only one question in his mind. "How do I tell my family now? I don't have time left." Lu Fan had set out alone. The day before, when his elder sister had said goodbye to him, he had mentioned that he had made many preparations according to Grandpa's instructions. His elder sister, with a slight smile on her worried face, had given him food, some prop rolls, and nutritional rations. It wasn't a big discussion, just motherly concern and practical help. His elder sister also reminded him that Grandpa had said, "There's been some accident at the bottom of the Dragon Breeding Valley. Be careful." Lu Fan shook his head seriously and said, "Sorry, Senior. I can't take you with me this time. I don't want to put you in danger." His elder sister smiled and said, "It's not necessary. I can't help you with the dragon issue right now. I also have to make arrangements for the Long and Huang families." From there, Lu Fan said goodbye to his elder sister before leaving the next day. He moved on, but a shadow of sorrow remained on his elder sister's face. She couldn't stop looking at him. The maid standing behind came and said, "Mr. Han, the family has moved the advanced secret area to Earth and Molten Gua. Wang Ying is making arrangements for fundraising." Hearing this, the elder sister said, "Very well. I'll go to Earth and Molten Gua. You help Huang Yang manage it and keep an eye on this vulnerable spot. And pay attention to everything I say. If you see anything unusual, report it immediately." The maid bowed and said, "I understand, madam." The elder sister cast one last gentle glance at Lu Fan, then turned back to tend to the arrangements. The hustle and bustle of the house returned to its normal routine, and Lu Fan's shadow slowly deepened towards the valley. On the other hand, a child, with the face and aura of an old boss, sat on a high chair in the grand drawing room of the old Huang family. A solemn atmosphere pervaded the atmosphere. All the officials sat with their heads bowed before him, as if they weren't allowed to breathe. The child's thin, cold voice echoed in the air. "The head of the 3 families. She's personally going to the mines to collect materials." An official mustered the courage to say, "No, that doesn't seem right." The child gave a slight smile, laced with sarcasm. "Interesting. Very interesting. This is the first time I've heard of a family head personally collecting ore and handing over the management of the family to his own old enemies." His laughter echoed in the cool air of the room. The official sitting over opposite bowed his head further, unsure whether his next sentence would kill him or spare him. That's when a servant quietly entered, placing coffee on a silver tray, and said, "Master Ning, please have some." The child picked up the cup, its steam slowly rising to his face. He smiled, but the smile was edged. It seems the family is still sensible. After taking a sip, he narrowed his eyes. Okay, I'll let him live a few more days, provided he collects the Earth's core and hands it over to me. Otherwise, I have no interest in meeting the head of this family. Silence fell over the room. The servant bowed his head, trembling, and said, "Orders will be obeyed, master." At that very moment, our hero, Lu Fan, stood at the massive entrance to Dragon Fallen Valley. A cold wind blew against his face. The valley stretched before him, shrouded in darkness, as if another world had descended upon the earth. Lu Fan's eyes were firm. Fear and excitement simmered within him. He murmured softly, "This is where the real test begins."